March 19th, 2026 Governance Committee. You just got the notice that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed. So I hope you all have had a nice start to spring. I'm already calling it spring. I'm pretending that winter is over. We have got a very full agenda today and great items to discuss. So we will go ahead and get started. Let's go to the next slide, please. Great. Okay, so to get us started, please put your name in the chat, your agency, organization, program, your title, your role, and anything else that you might be helpful for this group to know. So I'm Kathy Colley Robinson. I am the chair of this committee. I'm also the chair of our education programs at Durham Tech. So I look forward to seeing all of your information in the chat. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. So then on the next slide, just a quick reminder of our virtual meeting protocols. Please remain on mute unless you're speaking. Have your camera on if at all possible. Please use the chat box. We've got a whole bunch of people monitoring this chat box, so make sure you're using that. If we encounter any technical challenges, please be patient with all of that. And then if you have to leave early, send Tamara a message in that chat. And we do hope we have a lot of conversation today. So if ever you would like to engage in conversation, just come off mute and please engage in that conversation. Okay, lots of great things happening in the chat. And we're going to get started. I think Linda is going to get a Durham PreK video going for us.
Yep, we're going to just start off where we should be, looking at children. So, Tamara, if you'll get it going, thanks.
I think it's meant a lot to my family. Durham cares for our family. Durham wants my family to thrive and succeed. I am a better mom, wife, and business owner because of this program.
Oh my gosh, she is done amazing here. Like sometimes she comes home and the things that she's learned, I can't even believe it. So I've absolutely loved this program that she's in.
She has learned a lot, the social skills, learning, numbers, everything. She loves it here.
I think it's incredible that Durham gives that opportunity to all sorts of families to be able to have an awesome opportunity for their kids to get ready to go to elementary school. So yeah, we have been tremendously helped and blessed by it.
Help her grow a lot. This is her first classroom environment. She's been home with us for her first 4 years, so this has really given her an opportunity to expand her social skills as well as her academics. So it's been great.
It's so fun to get them ready and to see them come in as 4-year-olds and get all of the things that we're trying to give them with social activities.
Yes, she sent it last night.
And be really ready to go to kindergarten.
I love the collaboration. I love how people keep in touch. I love the trainings. I love the conferences. I love the brainstorming. And I love how the NCPK, DPK support us as a teacher, as a lead teacher.
Do you guys enjoy coming to school?
Yeah.
What is something that you guys have learned at school?
Letters, numbers.
What is your favorite thing about coming to school?
I like how we do science experiments and arts and crafts.
Are you excited to go to kindergarten?
Yeah. And I'm going to be a big kid. Go to a big kid school.
I mean, how great was that? Thank you all so much for putting that video together and for sharing with us. That was beautiful. Yay. Okay, so as promised, we have a very full meeting. Here are all of our objectives. We are going to get started by looking and approving our January meeting notes. We will receive a presentation from Durham Public Schools about the Whitted School. We will then review and discuss enrollment numbers. We also have to have a conversation about the 2026-27 minimum wage for instructional assistants. Then we have a request for a policy waiver for a program site to review. Update on professional development incentive payments. We're going to have some planning discussions regarding the 2026-27 DPK funding request. And then hopefully we're going to have lots of time for program updates. So a lot of agenda items. Okay, so the first item is a voting item. So you have received the meeting notes from both the business meeting and then that facilitated meeting that we held in January. Hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at those. We will need to approve the minute notes. So we will be looking for a motion to approve to get us started.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Ellen. Do we have a second?
Second, Jason Rutherford.
Thanks, Jason. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the January meeting notes? Oh, that's right, we're doing virtual. So if you approve, you don't have to do anything. If you do not approve the meeting notes, please indicate that. Okay, looks like we are approving the meeting notes. Thanks, everybody. Okay. So the next item is update on the Whitted School. Linda, do you want to say anything before we turn this over?
Sure. We really appreciate our partners from Durham Public Schools coming, today to fill us in. I know this is something that governance members first talked about last fall and asked for, and we thought that this is about the right time of year as we are getting ready to begin the closeout for this school year. I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Pittman, and I know she has a team with her, and we'll let her introduce her folks.
Thank you, Dr. Chappelle, and good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you. We thank you for this opportunity to provide an update on the Whitted School and the work underway, not only around enrollment, but our outreach across the community to increase our enrollment there. Just as a setting the stage for how we want to share the information, want to do a quick refresher on all the rich opportunities and services that are at the Whitted School. And then we will end our few minutes together talking about the outreach and marketing, fresh efforts underway to really address some of the ways that we might increase enrollment. So if you'll remember, yeah, you can stay there, but we're not quite ready for that. But you can stay on that slide, that's fine. So just as a refresher to everyone, the Whitted School is a program that is, we could call multi-service. We not only have general education programs there, but in the classrooms, we serve exceptional children's program by design, so that our classrooms are inclusive classroom settings. So we reserve and protect a certain number of seats to be able to place exceptional children, 4-year-olds, so that they're experiencing an appropriate educational environment in preparation for kindergarten. We also serve EC, or exceptional children, separate. So students on that continuum of EC needs, where they would need separate programs, smaller class sizes, and intentional small class ratios that are all designed around their exceptionalities and their individual education plans. So this is a multi-service pre-K exclusive facility that we're very proud of. What's important about some of that, to put in context, the exceptional children's seats, Durham Public Schools really has total autonomy and control over placement. Happy to report that most of all of those programs are full. We probably have just 1 or 2 additional seats through the year, but keeping in mind through Child Find and our obligation to serve students when they qualify for EC, we need to protect seats from the start of school to the end of school so that we can continue placing them in the appropriate educational environment. What we're here really to spend time today about is how do we manage those more general education seats. And of those, there are 90, 10 of which are NC pre-K seats, and the balance of which are Durham pre-K seats. The NC pre-K seats are also completely full. It's the Durham pre-K seats that where we're really focusing our energies and attention at this point. For those of you on the governance, and I think I saw previous Commissioner Ellen Reckow. The Whitted School, I believe, opened in 2017 as a shared use facility with senior living. The veranda at the Whitted School senior living component, as well as a pre-K center. So this is a multi-generational program as well. And boy, there was a lot of great publicity, got a lot of press. And in those early years, placing students at the Whitted School, the pre-K program, seemingly was effortless. We had plenty of interest and plenty of applications, and those programs were full. When COVID came, it set that momentum back a little bit. And I believe that part of what we're experiencing now may be a remnant of getting that excitement and that publicity back going, unpacking the whys, but just to put all of that in context is part of what we're stepping back to understand so we can address intentionally the actions. The other thing that we're realizing as we've been working with Dr. Chappelle and her team and the governance and all of our partners, from the marketing, the whole continual process of marketing, submitting applications, screening those applications, seeing which families qualify for which. That whole journey, we need to really lock arms a little more tightly, I think, in the future, so that we can really monitor placement of children into the Whitted School and go after them early and welcome them as they're making their final decisions. So more to come on that as an opportunity. So today, I want to share the renewed focus of our marketing and outreach around the Whitted School. I do want to thank Dr. Chappelle for her ongoing support and Ms. Mathis for her ongoing support. They are trusted and valued partners in this work. They've been incredible with us, helping us take a look at what's happening and help us unpack those issues and think differently about how we might mitigate. So truly a thank you to them. So at this time, I also want to welcome Karen Thompson, our Director of Early Education. She's on Zoom with us. We're in the same room together, so we're going to try to monitor that Zoom volume situation. But she's going to take us through the next couple of slides, and then I'll conclude. So I will pass it to Ms. Thompson. I'm going to come off mute.
Good morning, everyone. So this next slide here, we wanted to highlight the Whitted School video. This video, it has been running on Whitted's webpage. It showcases the high quality preschool program that focuses on the whole child. In the video, there are parent testimonials that emphasize how nurturing and supportive the environment is at Whitted. The parents share how their children have grown in confidence, they're independent. They talk about the excitement the students have for learning. You will see children that are actively engaging in hands-on experiences. They're working collaboratively with peers, and they're building those social-emotional skills that we want to see our preschool students have or gain while they're in preschool. You're also going to see some of our teachers engaged in those research-based learning activities. This video demonstrates how Whitted provides the supporting, engaging, and academically rich environment that we want to see that is preparing our students for kindergarten. So if you can get started with the video.
Welcome to the Whitted School, where learning begins with joy, curiosity, and care. Our preschool program provides a nurturing environment where young minds flourish. Through play-based learning, we spark creativity, build confidence, and develop a love for discovery while preparing children for success in kindergarten.
We teach them their letters, their names, their numbers, and actually learning how to write and read, and also recognizing them. That's really important.
Our small class sizes and experienced teachers ensure personalized attention, helping each child learn and grow.
I think this has kind of been like one of the best family communities that I've had. They are very supportive. They try to make sure that all the teachers here have what they need and vice versa.
We believe that parents are their child's first teacher, and respecting families and building positive partnerships are critical.
I love the support that we receive from all of the staff here. Whatever we need, they're here to help. They offer suggestions if I'm not sure what to do, or if I have any questions in general, they don't hesitate to help out or reach out and offer advice. So I love the support from everyone in this school.
We emphasize early literacy, math, and social skills, setting the foundation for kindergarten and beyond. We use research-based instructional strategies and best practices for early education to build a strong foundation for every child. From outdoor play to hands-on STEM activities, each day at the Whitted School is designed to inspire a lifelong love of learning. Give your child the best start to their educational journey. Fill out your application for the Whitted School. We're ready to ignite your child's limitless potential.
Next slide.
Next slide. I just wanted to highlight, I'm sorry. Next slide. I wanted to highlight that this is one of the new videos that we have published to help support with our marketing. On this slide, we just wanted to lift up that, with the Whitted School being as unique as it is a dedicated only preschool facility that Durham Public Schools has. It is our only facility that has preschool only. There are 8 classrooms. 6 of those classrooms are our pre-K generals, what we call them. And then we have 2 preschool classrooms that have students with exceptional needs. We are DCDEE, a 5-star facility. And we do have teachers that are licensed, and our instructional assistants are trained in early childhood education. We are a full-day program with an option to have wrap care. And we also, through Durham PreK, are able to have free to low cost for our families, depending on income. Next slide. So we do focus on the whole child. We are working to get all of our students kindergarten ready, academically, social, and emotionally. We use creative curriculum. Those students use hands-on play exploration to build their early literacy, math, and those critical thinking skills to help them develop social emotional skills. We use our tracking through Smart Teach, which everyone knows as Teaching Strategies Gold. They changed their name to track progress and to tailor the individual instruction. And we try to make sure that we do embed our social emotional skills through our daily routine activities. So they're embedded in our daily play. So we can help students develop those self-regulation skills, keep them in an environment where they learn to share and they are cooperating and engaging with other students. We support helping our students develop their confidence, managing their emotions, and building those relationships with their peers as well as their teachers.
Go on mute. All right. Well, part of what we were asked to come today was to share some fresh ideas and fresh activities that we have generated as a result of really underfilling the Durham pre-K seats. And this slide really lifts up the multi-departmental partners within Durham Public Schools, as well as that box at the bottom in green, where we have freshly been reaching out to community partners mid-year to let folks know there are still seats available and help raise interest and awareness to come in. We have received some fruits of that in small order, but nonetheless, and that fill will continue. But what's important here is we're really capitalizing on making sure that our early education team is connecting with community partners. Our Office of Public Affairs has been awesome. Really, as you saw earlier, generating that video. We'll be posting that and using that through the spring, and then particularly as we launch into the new application season. Our Exceptional Children's Department, really helping them see where we can open up seats perhaps on some of the classrooms that aren't quite full, looking at where we can have some flexibility with putting more children in a classroom and still maintain appropriate ratios. And of course, always important to make sure that we're reaching out to our multilingual families, and our English as a second language or our English Learner Services Department has been valuable in that regard, all wrapping our arms around the Whitted School at the heart. Okay, next slide, please. So these are fresh and new marketing outreach activities that we have generated, as I shared, midwinter and through March now. The district has a weekly newsletter called the Spark newsletter, and we have been pushing in information about that. We have really strengthened our social media campaign. I hope you've seen, if you follow us on Facebook or Instagram, additional information really lifting up that the Whitted School still has seats open and available now. Of course, we just enjoyed the Whitted promotional video, and if I may, it just was recognized with a gold star or gold standard of excellence for its promotional at a state conference, I believe is what happened. But we've really tried to pick up our social media announcements. Some of the members of our team have posted the opportunity for more seats and opportunity to be seated at Whitted now through their Nextdoor platforms. We have increased our presence on social media. The flyers that you see on the right really lifting up that there are seats available as well. I'm going to share some of our outreach to the community partners in pushing those flyers out as well. And of course, always informational events are available for our prospective families. So next slide. This really highlights date by date, particularly in March and going forward, what we're doing to get the word out about the Whitted School. We have commissioned we commissioned an article to be written about the Whitted School, its academic offerings and nurturing care that will be published soon. At the job fair, we had the Whitted School have a booth. So for new employees coming in that may be bringing 4-year-olds, making sure that they knew that this was a possibility for their families as well. We saw an early slide, a still shot of Dr. Lewis, our superintendent, pushing in and giving some backpack giveaways in preparation for kindergarten. But in that, we had live media camera coverage from ABC 11, I believe NC 17, and maybe CBS affiliates, getting the word out about Whitted. We had the DPS Foundation interim executive director filmed on camera about the benefits of the Whitted School, her children participating, and the joy that her children and family have experienced. Of course, we will continue connecting with Roll Up and Roll. The Whitted will have a spring festival. We'll do a lot of promotion and publicity about that. Our Countdown to Kindergarten event, that's always our rising kindergartners. And you say, well, why is that on this slide? Typically, families with kindergartners often have younger siblings. So we'll have a booth there for the Whitted School to recruit there. And of course, we have our ongoing open houses and Whitted School tours. Next slide, please. Really wanted to share, we did a fresh outreach campaign to our neighbors, our faith community, our government, the university community around the Whitted School. And what we were just so well received. At Campus Hills, we met with the manager and shared about the Whitted School. They have placed our flyers on their family bulletin board in both English and Spanish. Durham County Library, the Stanford Warren branch, we spoke with the librarian. They have information now about the Whitted School in English and Spanish in their front lobby. Durham Housing Authority is going to include flyers in their application packets to families. As families are filling out those applications, they'll also learn about the Whitted School being right in their community. Lincoln Community Health, we met with them. They are so excited to share the Whitted flyers with their women, infants, and children programs and their pediatric center. Mount Vernon Baptist Church, right across the street, around the corner, it has flyers now for their constituents to learn about the Whitted School and the opportunities there. And as well as North Carolina Central, we know they have a child development lab, but often the needs exceed the capacity of that lab to serve their students or their faculty. And so to know that the Whitted School was right there, they were excited to partner in that regard. Welcome Baby, we continue to partner with them. And then World Relief Durham, again, Sashi Rayasam, our director of ESL, English Learner Services, shared that information with them. So we're trying to cast broad and wide a fresh mid-year knowledge of what the Whitted School is and offers. Next slide, please. And so to close, just wrapping up, we know and recognize that the excitement perhaps from the opening of the Whitted School, where it was automatic and filled very easily, now requires some intentionality about outreach and marketing. And so expanding our programming and advertising, as I've outlined, really ongoing as we particularly go into the spring in preparation for next year, staying tight with the partners and the placement and the offering process. I know that letters go out to families and then they're given a window of time to respond. We've talked internally about when that letter goes out to offer a seat, that we are aware as well, so we can reach out and immediately welcome, talk with the family, see if there are any questions they may have, any circumstances that we can work through with them so that they accept that seat when it's first offered. And then staying tight with our enrollment tracking and monitoring. So at this time, I'll open it up to discussion.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And just to remind the committee, earlier you all received the overview, the WIDIT enrollment overview, prepared by Early Years at the request of this committee. So you have that information as well. Love seeing the video and getting all of the information. I would also like to put a plug in for Durham Tech. We are another good source to help spread the word. So let's connect and I can get you. Yeah, we have plenty of students, I think, who would be very, great.
Thank you.
Sure. So now this is a great time for others to engage in discussion. Feel free to come off mute if you have questions, if you have comments. This is a wonderful opportunity to engage in discussion. Dr. Pittman, could you just remind us of what the enrollment is looking at right now? Like, what do you have for Durham Pre-K in seats?
Absolutely. So the whole school, when we look at the EC inclusion, the EC separate, it fluctuates based on the needs of the children, but roughly between 128 and 132 seats total program. And I think we're at 102 right now. As far as I shared, the NC Pre-K, 100% full. The Durham Pre-K seats, I think, are at 53 with 63 total gen ed, including the NC Pre-K. Which is where we've been really pushing to fill those unfilled seats and really going at that mid-year.
Can I, Dr. Pittman, this is Yamaruka. Thank you so much.
Yes,
I mean,
good
thank
morning.
you, and Karen, and like just your whole team, just for like the level of reach out and intentionality, including with the videos that you all have pushed. I think that's actually, like, to me, that's amazing. I'm hoping that we as the committee and also obviously the community sees really the value of WITted. My question probably just trying to understand, right? Because obviously you are full, maybe probably potentially oversubscribed, potentially in the sort of ECS, the classrooms. You're clearly in the Durham Pre-K, the NC Pre-K side. I feel like I'm still struggling a little bit with understanding the rationale for the Durham Pre-K. I mean, is it because of the funding? I mean, I think that's the piece I feel like my brain sometimes, gets like, why? I mean, because clearly there's a need. It's not like there's not a need in the community. So I'm trying to figure out like what exactly is it about these seats that may just be challenging.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I see Ms. Reckal's hand up as well. I may want to lift up and open that question up to the greater application screening, offer, qualifying, and finally sending out offers to families process. Because we too are trying to unravel or unpack what are the challenges of families in that strand of the offers, and what can we do as a school district, and truly what can we do as partners to mitigate, to go at that. Because interesting, now we don't have full, I will say it this way, all of our other Durham Pre-K seats that are scattered, so to speak, or assigned to different special, in our elementary schools, we get a cluster of DPK seats. Those are all full. So we don't get as many, of course, across the district as they are concentrated at the WITted school. So maybe I'll open that up to the team that helps with.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, thank you.
This is Linda Chappelle, and what I can, just for context. So, I appreciate Dr. Pittman and her team talking about the overall program. We're proud of the program. We know that it has a lot to offer, and we believe that families, if they visit or engage or learn more about it, we believe that it will become an exciting opportunity for them. Just for context, the Durham PreK seats have no restrictions. They're open to everyone. Now we have this governance committee has set a priority to, of course, first serve our families who are of lower income or children who haven't had as many opportunities, but they are open to everyone. And so that means that they are our most flexible seats. And so it is counterintuitive for those numbers to be low. And I do think Dr. Pittman's point about the excitement of when it opened prior the year before Durham PreK actually began, and the attention and the hype and the delight of having such a strong and beautiful program. Many people were aware of that site, and then COVID changed the landscape certainly, and also for the many years that have passed. I think that when we go through the placement process, families they don't get to pick where they go. We families have the opportunity to let us know their preferences based on their needs, of course, and we try to match families to their preferences when possible, when a seat is available that their child is eligible for. But every child is eligible for these seats at Whitted. And so when we analyze the numbers, we do see that some families select Whitted as one of their 3 preferences, but many don't. And we've offered throughout the year, as we make offers to families, we try to make sure they're aware of all the advantages at Whitted. But I do think that what is really critical is that the site continue to shine a light on the work they're doing and, more aggressively pursue all of the opportunities to make the community aware of the site. Because for some families, it's a convenient location, certainly, and we believe that there are more than enough families who have children to fill the seats. It's not in an area where there are not 4-year-olds, but we know that families have a variety of needs, and we want them to be aware of the opportunity that Whitted represents. Since the school system resumed providing wrap care to some families in terms of there's wrap care for some seats, that has improved the interest in Whitted, and we know that that will continue to do so. So I know other folks have their hands up, and hopefully we can answer their questions. I can see that Ellen, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. Deborah, really good start on the marketing. I appreciate the video and the handout. Is this handout also translated into Spanish?
It is. Yes.
Okay. And are you envisioning putting the handouts in locations in the community where people frequent, possibly in grocery stores and convenience stores and other places like that might be an option?
Thank
the
you.
other thing I've been wondering about is the channel for the DPS TV station that used to be operative. The last time I checked is still not online. Is that something that's permanent, or is it a budgetary issue? What's going on with that?
I'm not sure, Commissioner Recca. I do know it is not online. I certainly can look into what that offers, because it has a broader reach, indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel as though, both for Whitted, but also the fact that enrollment within DPS as a whole is down for the year versus last year, that more marketing of programs generally would be a good idea, but obviously highlighting this wonderful pre-K program. So I just want to lift that up. And also whether you can pursue any public service announcements that you can get online for, get up on the commercial stations for free periodically. I think the use of that would be good. There's also some local radio stations you could look at advertising. I just think broadening the outreach would be better and something worthwhile to think about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ileana?
I wanted to echo about, I think the video is fabulous and I'm really excited about the open house. Please invite everyone on this committee because I know we'd love to be there. And if we can help support it, help get resources for it, let us know.
Thank you. Awesome.
I did, I don't know if other folks on this committee are involved in the Durham ACEs and Resilience Task Force or DART, but they're focused on adverse childhood experiences in Durham. And is something that was lifted up by Dr. Boone from Together for Resilient Youth is there are neighborhoods in Durham that for lots of historical reasons are really bearing a heavy burden right now in terms of crime and in terms of perceived safety in those neighborhoods. And my guess is the neighborhood around Whitted, there are community members who are maybe fearful about safety. That could be one reason that they are maybe reluctant to have their child in any setting outside of their home. And I'm just curious if you all, in any of your community collaboration or in any of the conversations that you're having with parents and caregivers, if that's been part of the conversation, if there's anything that seems to kind of help families feel safer, more confident, more like Whitted is kind of a safe, protected gem in that neighborhood.
Yeah, hard to know. I think there certainly could be part of that issue. I will say this. We are amazed that if families come in and visit the program, they are all in. They love it. And many of our families who participate will, with younger siblings as well, they say, I can't wait for my child. I can't wait for them to be 4 because I want them here. So it's all of that. It's yes and overcoming the concerns and pushing into the quality of the program. I guess yes, that's a concern to some, but many overcome that and push through. So I guess that's, I don't know if others want to chime in and share as well about context and setting.
I mean, do families provide feedback? And this is to the whole group, when they are applying as to why Whitted is not at their top, or are they giving any feedback that matches up with what Ileana is asking about? Like, is it the location? Is it the neighborhood? Like, do we have any concrete information?
Well, when families make their preferences, that's a very preliminary activity. In terms of once a family receives an offer, if they don't accept the offer to go to Whitted, we do try to inquire from them, to get feedback as to why it's not a good fit. And we have some of that information. Some families are willing to share and some are not. But in terms of why someone would not select Whitted as one of their preferences, we don't have information about that. Across the board, all of our sites, what happens is families are offered the opportunity to select preferences that match with the seats their child is eligible for. So they get multiple opportunities to review sites and locations. They may not be eligible for all seats based on what seats their children are eligible for, but Whitted, everyone is eligible for. So again, we want to continue working in partnership with the district to really deeply review what the barriers are to full enrollment at Whitted. And we believe that a first step is really making sure that the light is shined on the quality of the program and that the district fully include WITted in all of their marketing efforts as they are working to increase enrollment across the board of the district. I know June's had her hand up for a little bit.
Oh.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess I just have a question. Are you promoting the intergenerational component of the program? Because it's basically one of the only programs I think probably in Durham that does that. And that might be something that families would be really interested in hearing about. And I presume that, the seniors, they visit the school, do they? And they spend time in classrooms or I don't know. I think that's something that's worth promoting.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, we are connecting with them. And that's great feedback. I think there's a rich opportunity there to really get some traction and not only promote it, but also strengthen it. It's young in its development at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
And the other question I have, so there's 6 regular pre-K classrooms, is that right?
Yes.
And how much are you under enrolled in those 6? Is it 10 seats, you said?
No, I'm sorry. We have, so what we try to create a balance of 15, what I call general ed seats and 3 EC seats to form an inclusive setting in each program, each classroom. So of the 6 times 15 is 90 seats.
Okay.
Of those 90, 10 come through NC pre-K, and the balance would be qualifying under Durham pre-K. And we are, I believe, total of the 90, help me.
We have the next part of our presentation talks about overall enrollment and has the most recent numbers.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
we'll definitely address just overall enrollment shortly.
Because I'm just wondering, so you have I'm just wondering, is it possible, I don't like to suggest, but do you need to close one classroom or something? Or is it the fact that, you have the building to maintain and obviously all the costs of that, so you absolutely have to have 8 classrooms, or could you reduce the number of classrooms to help with the enrollment, or you don't want to go that route, you just want to try and
We really are committed to making sure that stays. The county is supporting that, the 6 classrooms as well in the whole program. So we really don't want to head that direction quite yet at all. Really want to keep invested in figuring out where can we push in it, because the need in the community is there.
Yeah.
We just have to create the avenue and portal of entry that's family friendly and encourages families to take a look at the WITted school. Yeah.
I guess the reason I'm saying this, and because I live in Chapel Hill, which is different from Durham.
Yes.
But you may have heard that the Chapel Hill School Board is probably going to close 2 of the elementary schools in here in town by 2027 because of enrollment has dropped. And this is partly to do with the fact that there aren't as many children. That's not the only reason. And I understand that Chapel is different. The reason that people don't move into Chapel Hill now is basically it's the cost of housing. The fact there isn't enough affordable housing and families can't afford to live here. And there's also a lot of things about the pandemic. People's attitudes changed. You're talking about charter schools, homeschool, private school. People have made other choices. So I'm also wondering if are there enough children is what and you're telling me that there is. So it's not a question of how many kids there are overall.
I'm going to look to Dr. Chappelle, but absolutely, I think the portal is there, or the influx of students are there. Dr. Chappelle, do you want to weigh in on that as well?
I mean, WITted is an important component of our overall program, and as they are funded directly by the county, outside of the Durham pre-K budget, I think, what we're really committed to is trying to fill those seats first, given the fact that there are enough children based on the census and based on our anecdotal work. And so we're going to really push through, but we are continuing to monitor it very closely, and we pride ourselves in being nimble and adaptive. And I also saw Dr. Aruka's comment in the chat about, I do think we have to be open to all possibilities as we are looking at the needs. And I see you have your hand up, Dr. Aruka.
Yeah, I don't want to clearly know that there's need. This is not like where there's not a question of need, right? So this is not, I feel like that's not the conversation. And I think, and so I think I want to just preface that it's not about that. I think is that clearly we are seeing that, NC pre-K, and we're seeing, the special ed, like, right. So and I'm like, at some point, it may be that this is not the right approach for, right, because there's other things that are working fine. And so I feel like in some ways, I'm like, we don't always have to beat a dead horse. It's like, but again, but time is also like, we still, there's a lot that has happened when I think about Durham at large, right? There's been a lot of change and transition, and sometimes there needs to be time for things to get baked in. And so I feel like maybe, the district, you all are doing as much as you can, and there needs to be some settling. Right now, there's a lot of unsettling, right, in Durham, but even across the triangle. And so I also feel like one is we could just let the settling happen a little bit more. That's one option. The other option is like, let's just like let this slide for now and move to, like then move the DPK resources wherever needed somewhere else. I feel like in some ways, if the community is telling us, and to me, communities tell you things in the way that they move, right? And maybe this particular version they really don't want right now. They have other versions that they clearly want. And so I feel like if just because you build it doesn't mean they're gonna come. That I feel like that whole ideal is not one that we should continue to subscribe to. So I think it's either we just let it settle a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of promotion happening, a lot of engagement happening. Families are going through a lot of things just now. And so I think we also have to give a little space for a lot of the just uncertainty happening. The need could be there, but there's a lot of just anxiety and uncertainty happening. And we have to bake that into this conversation. But at the same time, we may just want to sort of like also say, you know what? We don't have to use all our resources to sort of create space for 60 kids, right? We can maybe also, move to somewhere else in addition while we continue to work this in the background. I guess I just feel like we don't have to overly stress it and say it's somebody's fault. It just is what it is. And communities sometimes speak about like, we don't want this version. We want this one instead, right? So let's maybe expand on the ones they want and then think through, where this one may fit. I just think that we may just need to just not overdo it, not overthink it.
Thanks for that feedback. I feel like a need that we need to touch base about our agenda, and we know this is critical and important discussion. And I really hope that we'll continue to engage in discussion as we talk about enrollment across the board. But we are really over our time, and we have a lot of agenda items. Wonder if anyone would has anything else that they want to mention today, particularly. Um, Otherwise, just in the interest of time and our very important items across the agenda, that we would move to our next item, which is about just the general enrollment.
Thanks, Linda. So any last comments? And also keep putting them in the chat if you do have more thoughts. I'm not seeing any hands going up. So Dr. Pittman and team, thank you all for presenting. I think you've gotten a lot of good feedback.
Indeed, thank you.
Yeah, and I look forward to hearing about the progress that occurs over the next quarter. So when we meet back
Indeed.
in maybe, right? Maybe you're going to have great things to share as well. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So before we talk about enrollment, I forgot to introduce one of our brand new committee members. So we are so fortunate to have a brand new member as a parent representative. And I'm going to say your name wrong, Edith, because I've known you as Edith, but the way to pronouncely correct your name, Linda, is, say it for me.
Edith.
Edith, are you
Yes.
able to come off mute and introduce yourself? I know you were in the car.
Yeah, my name is Edith.
Edith.
Yes.
Edith, I am so sorry I've been saying your name wrong for like 2 years.
I know.
We are so happy to have you on the governance committee. Would you please tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Edith Ogola. I'm a student at Durham PreK and also at UNC Central. I'm a mother of an autistic child. And Miss Maggie West introduced me to this group. And I'm also a community health worker.
Wonderful. Well, we are so glad to have you on the committee and just really looking forward to your perspective and your insights in our conversations and in our decision making.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so now it is time to review enrollment. And so Linda, I'm going to turn it back over to you for that.
Okay, I'm going to ask Joy Turner, who's the Director of Data and Provider Relations for Early Years, to go over this information, and she's going to, by necessity, be brief. But as you have these numbers, we've been reporting every meeting about enrollment across the board, and obviously these things are really important, and we'll continue to do that at every meeting. Joy?
Thanks, Linda. And I will be brief because of time, like Linda said. But I just wanted to point out overall, the enrollment rate has not really changed since December, and we're still at 87%. Although you can see there were some changes in enrollment by the site type. But overall, the enrollment rate has not changed from December. If you'll go to the next slide. Here you can see the enrollment rates for October, December, and February by seat type. We have seen some increases in NC PreK. Durham PreK only enrollment increased overall to 89%, and you can see that increase at Whitted there from 69% from 59%. So as was just discussed, we have seen a lot of improvement there in the Durham PreK. Whitted, they are not full, but they are making improvements, and so that's good to see. I do just want there's also was an increase at in the Title I only seats as well. We will continue making new placements through the end of April. However, we are at the point of the year where it's typical to see more exits than new enrollments because a lot of families don't want to enroll their child just for a month or two of pre-K. And so when a child leaves, for whatever reason that might be, a lot of times they move away or something like that. It's harder to replace them at this point in the year. So we will report on this again in May, but it would not be surprising to see the enrollment numbers decrease just based on the general pattern we typically see in this latter half of the school year.
Great. Thank you for that, Joy. Any questions? Any more insights y'all would like? Okay. It's always good to get those enrollment numbers. And just remember, this committee, that is something we've asked for, that we want it be kept updated with enrollment at each governance meeting. So thank you for that. Okay, so
I'm going to ask Joy to continue talking about compensation. Yeah.
Yes. So if you go to the next slide. So every year, governance considers whether there should be an increase in the instructional assistant minimum hourly rate. Last year, y'all decided to use the City of Durham living wage as a benchmark since it's publicly updated on an annual basis. And based on that, last March, the rate was set at $19.58 per hour. With that minimum in place this year, our average hourly rate for Durham PreK IAs is $20.42 per hour, and the median is $19.79. So that was based on the decision that y'all made last year. If you'll go to the next slide, I wanted to set some context for the IA minimum hourly rate. So like I said, this year it's $19.58 based on the 2025 City of Durham living wage rate. The 2026 City of Durham living wage is $21.90. So that's a significant increase from that of this year. The current Durham County minimum wage is $19.22, and the Durham Public Schools is $17.15. So you can see our current minimum wage of $19.58 is above the county and Durham Public Schools right now, but it is well short of the City of Durham. And just for some further context, a brand new lead teacher being paid at the state salary scale would be $23.84 per hour. And so the city of Durham living wage is approaching that rate for a beginning level teacher at the state, starting salary for a lead teacher. So if you go to the next slide, we wanted to also share information about the hourly rate that current instructional assistants are actually earning. So these are based on the salary monitoring that we do to verify that teachers are being paid appropriately. And what you can see is that 39% are being paid exactly at the current minimum. So they do not make any more, they make exactly the minimum. Only 7 or 17% are being paid above the new City of Durham minimum of $21.90. And so that means 83% make less than the living wage of $21.90. I do want to point out, this is not on the chart, but for Durham Public Schools, we know they have their own budgeting process and their own policies and guidelines that they follow. And for Durham Public Schools, 54% are being paid exactly $19.58 per hour, which is our current minimum. So there's even a higher percentage of when you look at just Durham Public Schools that are being paid the minimum. So we recognize that an increased pay rate would be beneficial for the instructional assistants. We know that there are a lot of issues with costs and costs of living and all of that, but we are concerned about the impact on providers of requiring such a large increase, given that only 17% currently pay at or above that level. And actually over half pay less than $20 per hour. And so this would just be a large step for all providers. It would be a large step for DPS, given their current pay structures, if we were to adopt the current City of Durham living wage of $21.90. Our current minimum of $19.58 is already higher than Durham County government and Durham Public Schools. So we are still leading with strong pay. But just wanted to set the context for that decision, since typically we have adopted the new City of Durham living wage. This year, though, we feel it's a little bit more complicated, and so we wanted to share that information with you. And so you can go to the next slide.
So now, committee, we have got some options to consider. And so with all of that great information, these are some current options that we can discuss and then vote on if the committee so agrees. So for considerations that we have in front of us, we can maintain the current wage minimum that Joy has outlined. We can consider a 3% increase. We can continue alignment with what the City of Durham is doing, or we can align with the County of Durham, or we can have, if there's another option that someone would like to present. But this is an item that we really do need to vote on, and at today's meeting would be preferable as we're making decisions going forward for the next year. Ileana, I see your hand.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, if someone is employed full-time at Durham Public Schools, they would, in addition to their salary, they would also qualify for benefits, correct? Whereas some of our private sites don't offer things like vacation and health insurance and those types of things.
Great
Yes, Durham Public Schools employees get retirement, health, and leave. They earn annual and sick leave.
Okay, I just want
Right, and
so it
Joy,
is.
Joy, if you can weigh in about the rest of our Durham PreK sites benefits.
Yes, so we do track the benefits of private sites, and most private sites do also offer some form of health insurance, days off for vacation and sick leave, and it's certainly not comparable to the school system benefits if you were to compare line for line, but I don't have the numbers directly in front of me to tell you the exact percentages that offer this and that. But most do offer benefits packages as well. And in our contract, it is clear that our salary requirements are irrespective of that, we encourage the offering of benefits. That's above and beyond our minimum salary requirements for all sites, including private sites and DPS.
Great, thanks. Ellen, I see your hand.
Yes, thank you. I'm approaching this meeting based on some of the statewide news in the past few weeks with a caution flag. You may know that the State House is looking at perhaps bringing forward a constitutional amendment that would restrict what local governments, cities, and counties can do in terms of raising property tax. It's a big issue in Raleigh right now. And an article in yesterday's paper highlighted the top 10 counties for property tax increases, and Durham was number 3. I am concerned that we have to try to be as, I want us obviously to do what's right by pre-K, but I also understand that we don't want to have the local government on such a tight leash going forward. And so I would urge that we err on the side of being more cautious about the size of our budget request this year. And I hope the commissioners will look at not just pre-K, but all the things they're doing in terms of toning down a little bit. Just my thought.
Thanks, Ellen. Alex?
Yeah, I have a question about the sustainability of increased wages. So, is there a chance that we would have to? I guess I'm not understanding the trade-offs. Is there a chance we'd have to reduce slots so that we can afford these higher wages?
Yeah, great question. Linda?
Yeah, certainly. So the way that our program works, we contract with program sites, private as well as Head Start and public schools, and whatever minimums that this body sets in terms of wages, we require that those under contract meet those minimums. The last year, you'll recall that we increased our salary support payment to the sites to help them absorb some of the wage increases that we had mandated. So sites get paid a per child per month rate for the service, and then in addition, they get a salary support payment. The salary support payment is not designed to cover all the salary, obviously, because they're getting a per child reimbursement for the service, but it does support them in hiring the most qualified staff members they can, which obviously more qualifications, more experience leads to a higher wage. But we are, obviously we brought this to you because we have a lot of concern about where we are financially, and also we presently are in a situation where we may be having to cut seats next year anyway, given our budget gaps, which we'll talk about after the break. But yes, if we align with the city of Durham as our previous policy said, this increase would mean that we would be coming back in May to address the salary support amount for sites because it would be a tremendous impact. And we are concerned that it is not a good time to implement that high of an increase.
June, I see your hand.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if, teachers obviously always need more money. Assuming that we have the money, I was thinking that maybe we should do this 3%, which is not as high as the city of Durham is doing. On the other hand, it is a 3%, so at least it gives them something. This is assuming, of course, that we have the money to do this, and I'm understanding that that might also mean that we need to reduce seats, which we've never really wanted to do in the past. But I'm sitting on the fence. I'd like to give them a bit, but if we can't afford the city of Durham, maybe we don't do that route this time. We give them something, to at least make them feel like we appreciate them. So we do the best we can with what we've got, I guess.
This is a very tough situation. And I've heard, I think, 3 different things. So, I'm wondering, we are at our break time. I'm wondering if we take our 5-minute break now, noodle on this a little bit. We'll come back after a break and we'll see if we are ready to make a motion, or we'll see what the pleasure is of the committee. So are we just doing a 5-minute break? Is that what's on the agenda, Linda? Yep. Okay, great. So let's take a 5-minute break. It's 10:40 basically. So at 10:45, let's get started again and we will resume this conversation. Thanks, you all.
It was just like. By the time we do it, we can't even go on it. Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim.
Hi, somebody calling?
I'm just saying, hey, this is Tamara.
Hi, how are you?
All right, and you?
Very good. Yes, I'm bored, Tamara. I'm so bored. I need to work. I'm so bored. Other than that, I'm fine.
But when we have some outreach events that are large, we're gonna call you.
Oh, please do. As I said, I'm so bored. Please find me something to do.
Okay.
You want to help us on academies?
Whatever you need.
Say you wanna.
Whatever you need, you just ask me.
Okay, I got some academies, June.
Okay. Please do. Yes, I have to have something to do. I mean, it's nice not have to get up early every morning. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I have my grandkids and I'm doing stuff for them. But I still, I miss working. Yes, it's terrible. So I can't understand why people tell me they love retirement. Well, I'd have to find some volunteer work to do. I have to find something to do. So find me something. Yes, please. Anything.
Got you.
That's good.
Now we know you've publicly said that you're available, so you're gonna get flooded.
Yes, well, anything you'll need, please. I need it.
How'd you get us? I thought you said something. Oh, you got tag. I'm so sorry. Something. Hmm? Oh, all of them. I'm not so bad. Yeah. No, it's not bad. No, I'm supposed to eat them, but depends on how many I eat. Kind of, put inside this precious vessel of mine. That's me too. I love your awareness. That's me. I be eating. I actually ordered food already. Our quesadilla sitting on my desk. It's gonna be cold. I can warm up. Everybody gonna get one preach. Where? Oh, DoorDash. Oh. You love some DoorDash? Mm-hmm. DoorDash good. But we're rolling in and out today. It's been pretty busy in the office the last few days. Other than in-office chats, every time somebody comes in, I see it. That's just very busy. Look, kids, keep.
Okay, it's 10:45. If you're back, turn your cameras on if you can. Wonderful. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. So, if we can go back to the slide before the break slide, because this is where we were. We never finished this slide. So what we are looking here is if possible, if anyone would like to make a motion of what to do with the hourly rate. And we have got a comment in the chat that was placed right before the break. Ileana is saying an advantage to June's suggestion of the 3% rate. Raise would keep us up with inflation. Also, lowering it to the Durham County rate would not be appropriate since generally county employees get a robust benefits package and some Durham pre-K teachers do not. I don't know if we have anyone on the school system still here, but do we know what Durham Public Schools is thinking about doing for their hourly rates for instructional assistants going forward? I think that conversation's still happening.
So this is Debbie Pittman. I'm not sure specifically the hourly rate. I do know that the budget is still under development and will be contingent upon funding received from the county. So I might be premature to speak in that regard, but our classified employees are one of our priority areas, but no decisions have been made.
Great. Thank you for that. And then Linda, can you give us a little context about the timing of voting on this today?
Okay, yes. It would be so the consequence of delaying until May would be that we would be in a not in a great place as we continue to work on our budget projections and our communications with the county. So it's really timely if we can do this at this point.
Great, thank you. Okay, so what we're looking for is a motion, if anyone feels so moved to make one.
Kathy, just to start as a Yoma, just real quick. So would the motion be any of these options, or is the motion the one from June or Alina? So I guess I'm trying to figure out like what is the motion really? Because these are options. They're not like that specific language. So what are we motioning for?
Well, I mean, that's what we're looking for. And so it really would be up to whomever makes the motion as to what that motion would entail. So we have not had a consensus in our conversation. And I don't know that we have one at this moment.
I will move for a 3% increase.
Okay, so we have a motion of the 3% increase. So that's option number 2 here on the presentation. Do we have a second?
So can I just real quick, sorry, I don't want, just real quick. So the 3% increase goes from 1958 to 2017. And we anticipate potentially City of Durham going up to 2190 at some point, correct? Am I reading that right?
Well, the City of Durham living wage that's posted on their website is presently at that higher rate. Now, in their implementation of their pay to their staff, what we were told when we inquired was that yes, that their staff make at least $21.90 per hour, but there has been some conflicting information about that. But that is the posted living wage that the city has posted.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is one is that yes, we know that there's going to be tightening even more of all budgets. I want to just make that like yes, that context is there, and I'm thinking about that as well. But also knowing that we know there's going to be a large need, like there's going to just be an explosion of cost. Like the affordability is going to hit us. It's hitting us. We know we're in a crisis now. And so I guess my question, I'm just trying to sort of clarify from the staff, like, so one was, and I'm happy to second, I mean, I think that's who motioned the 3% increase. I'm also just thinking about that's just the basic standard of living increase that we're talking about versus if we're talking about livable wage. So to me, I think the question is for us as a committee, right? We could do exactly the standard 3% increase and hope that we don't lose staff and a lot of the investment we've made in people, including our IAs, or we could at least say part of what we always have done as a committee is think about the sort of the workforce as a linchpin, and that includes our IA. And so would we not just ensure they have a livable wage? And if the livable wage for Durham is 2190, is there reason to not just make that change now? Because I worry that we're going to come back again. Again, I know things are going to get tight, it's going to impact slots. I get all that, but I also just want to sort of bring that forward as another thought.
Jason, I see your hand.
Yeah, I had actually seconded the motion in the chat.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second, we've had some conversation. Do we have additional conversation?
I just have a question.
Sure.
I don't know how to raise my electronic hand. So Dr. Chappelle, if the county funding, how will the county funding impact this decision? If we get less appropriation from the county, how do we reconcile? Let me toss that to you without a question, but a conceptual wondering.
Yes, so obviously personnel costs are the largest component of all of our budgets. And if we move with a higher minimum, whatever our minimums are, Joy presented in earlier slides what percent of our current workforce already make that minimum, and it is lower than in some years when we've moved our rates up. But what would have to happen basically is we don't know what our budget will be yet. We know that there are gaps in our budget that are large, and we could very well be cutting seats, but in the context of those wages as we pay our contractors to provide the service, we would be coming back after we have a budget, we would be coming back to review with you what needs to happen with our teacher support payments. And those potentially would need to be adjusted in order to help our sites meet that minimum that we set. And so that will directly impact how many seats we can allocate. It's all a big picture, so you can't parcel out any one thing, obviously.
Thank you.
And again, just to remind you, so Durham Public Schools obviously is a very large employer in our community, and they have, Durham PreK requirements are just one piece of the many programs they administer. And so, once everything is all said and done and they have their budget, they may have to do what they did a few years ago, and they may have to come back to this body to talk about the where they are with their wages for their instructional assistants. But we can't anticipate that now. We just have to be aware that we're a system, and whatever decisions we make, we'll obviously have to do a lot of work moving forward to adjust.
Ellen?
I guess I want to lift up the fact that it seemed as though when the presentation was made by our staff related to this issue, that it appeared as though they were leaning towards keeping the wage as it is. And we do have other budgetary pressures, which we're going to get to, which is the whole issue of covering the new school seats that were covered last year with one-time money. So there are other budgetary issues. I just want us to think about that within the whole context.
Thank you. Yeah, the budget conversations and the budget considerations, it is going to be a big thing for this committee to be aware of and to engage with as we're going forward. In fact, we have some of that on the agenda coming up. But right now, to honor that we do have a motion and a second already put forth. If there's no further discussion, we will vote on this. And so, Ileana, do you want to remind us of your motion again?
I motioned for a 3% increase in wages for instructional assistants in Durham PreK from 1958 to 2017.
Okay, and Jason seconded that motion. So all in favor of the motion, please indicate by raising your hand, either the virtual hand or your real hand. Okay, whoever's counting, let me know when you've counted.
Okay, so of those who are eligible to vote, we have 7 who raised their hand in favor. And of those eligible to vote, I want to count again the ones who did not, so hold on. Six, 7. Well, we have a tie.
Well, we haven't done the
Yes.
no vote yet, so.
Well, right. The ones I just, yeah. So the ones who raise their hand in favor at this time are 7.
Okay.
So we should clarify.
Yep. So everybody put your hands down. Let's wait for hands to go down. Okay. And if you're not voting to approve this, if you're not in favor of this motion, raise your hand now. And virtual or or not. Yeah. So I see 1. Okay. So I saw 1 not in favor.
I'm only seeing one that is not in favor.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for voting, everyone. So the motion has passed. Thank you all for the very robust conversation and discussion. And I anticipate we're going to be having more robust conversations and discussion as we continue with our budget. Yeah. Thank you all. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, if we can go, I think it's 2 more slides forward. Okay. So the next item on the agenda. So Linda, do you want to give us a brief intro of this?
Sure. So what we are asking you to be aware of is that periodically we have program sites that can request consideration for review of our policies and can request a waiver in particular if they choose to do that. So we are in receipt. We received on Monday of this week, we received a request in writing from one of our sites to have governance review their request for a waiver in relation to their lead teacher status. Because this is a personnel matter, we believe that needs to be a closed session, and we seek from you guidance in terms of what process you'd like to follow in order to review this request. It does need to be resolved prior to our scheduled May meeting.
Okay, so we do have some options again. And so really the 2 options to discuss this matter, as Linda mentioned, because it's regarding a personnel matter. And we also want to make sure that the committee has enough time to review both the policy as well as the waiver request. We've got 2 suggestions and always open up for another suggestion if the committee feels so. So the first suggestion is we can create a subcommittee to review, to meet, to make the decision. Or we can schedule a closed session meeting in April for the whole committee to review the recommendation. That would give the whole committee time to review both the policy as well as the waiver request. The other option, we could review the lead teacher credential policy at the May Governance Committee as well, but we would want to engage before that about the very specific waiver request. So, yeah, I think I jumbled all that together. So would we like to form a subcommittee and then we would meet as a closed session, or would we like to have a special meeting for the whole committee to meet in April as a closed session? Anyone have a strong preference? Debbie.
Just a question. What's the time sensitivity upon which you'd like to render a decision or a decision is needed?
Ideally, we need to make a decision by the end of April.
By the end of April.
It could, if it had to be, it could be extended. However, that places the site in a difficult position because they have a early May deadline that they need to meet.
June?
Yes, so are they wanting the credentials for lead teachers to be reviewed across the whole Durham PreK sites? Is that, or is it just their site?
So they would have 2 requests. One is particular to their site and their teacher. Mm-hmm. So that personnel issue, they're requesting a waiver regarding their teacher. Secondarily, they have requested that governance review the entire policy across the board for everyone. We are separating those two things because obviously they are not exactly the same.
Yeah, so you know the rule has always been that you have to have at least a 4-year degree, yes, and you can be working on the license.
Yes.
So is that what
That's
they're is it? I guess we
It's a
don't really
very
know.
complex, it's a very
Yeah.
complex issue.
Yeah.
It is unique to the site. And so I really would prefer not to get into that in our public meeting.
Sure. Okay. Well,
But for
then
the
I get
policy itself, for our policy regarding credentials for lead teachers, we always, on a regular basis, rotate around our policies and have you review and look at them. We don't have a concern about reviewing that, and there's not a deadline for the actual policy review. It's timely the individual waiver they're requesting for our current policy.
Okay. Beth, I see your hands up.
Yeah, I mean, that helps answer a lot of my questions. My general sense is if this is a specific to this program request, then it would be okay for a subcommittee to address that. If it has broader policy implications, I think that we need to keep it to the full task or commission committee.
So it sounds like, Beth, are you fine if we do a subcommittee for the waiver and then we bring back the lead teacher credential policy for May, our May governance meeting? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that a motion?
I don't know that we need.
I don't necessarily want to cut off conversation to make a motion yet myself.
Yeah. Any other feelings, suggestions? So I think let's go with Beth's suggestion of we will form a subcommittee to meet to discuss the waiver request. And then May, we will do the lead teacher policy review. Linda?
Okay, so we don't need a motion to create the subcommittee, but if you are going to, the question becomes, are you authorizing the subcommittee to make the decision about the waiver request? We would want to vote if you were doing that. Or do you want the subcommittee to make a recommendation back to this group in an April meeting? That's the key component.
Great. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, so we've got in the chat, I assume the subcommittee will make a recommendation to the full committee. Okay. So it sounds like we need to have an April meeting, an April closed session meeting, period. So let's go ahead and get that scheduled. Do we need to make a motion to authorize the subcommittee now, Linda, or do we just need to agree to meet in April?
No, if we don't need a vote at all to add a meeting or to add a subcommittee. So since you're not giving the subcommittee the decision-making power, we don't need a motion. What we would do moving forward is we will send out information, request volunteers for the subcommittee, and then we will do a doodle poll to set up a short I can't say it'll be short, a one item governance meeting in April. So we would send out a doodle poll to try to find the best date where we can get a quorum for the April meeting. The subcommittee would meet before that, and we'll send out everyone the opportunity to join the subcommittee, but it is confidential information which we'll need to share, and they'll have to have time to review it. And we would do that.
So Linda, you were breaking up a little bit. Yeah.
Was I? I'm in the office. I guess the internet in the office is unstable. Sorry about that. I just was saying we don't need a motion unless you choose to give the subcommittee the power to make the decision. So
Got it. Okay. So then committee members, be on the lookout for communication with the waiver, with the policy information, and then with the opportunity to volunteer to be on the subcommittee. Also be looking in that same meeting with the doodle poll, in that same email about a doodle poll, so that we can have a short closed session, or maybe not a short closed session, but a closed session meeting in April to discuss both matters. Thank you all.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks. Quite appreciate it.
Thanks.
Kathy, if we do an agenda check, looking at our items, we can skip the professional development incentives. You can read the slides and that will update you. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to send an email. We'll be happy to answer. And if there are a lot of questions about that, it was just an update for you. We can address them in the May meeting. We do need to go ahead and move to the budget discussion, given that we're almost, we're toward the end of our meeting. So Tamara, if you can move forward the slides, I think it would be 3 slides. Okay, quickly, just to get us started with the budget, just want to remind everybody where we are. We have a community goal to expand public preschool seats to serve up to 75% of the 4-year-old census. That's our long-term goal. And just to remind you where we are, we're at right at 42%. Next slide. Okay, so we had the opportunity, the county invited us to present at the Board of County Commission budget retreat. We were certainly very happy to be invited. They gave us an opportunity to present and to ask us questions. It was a very preliminary meeting on their part. We don't have any information moving forward as to what the budget might end up looking like, but what we do know is that in that meeting, there were many, many competing needs, as you all know from reading the paper. And, we're very respectful of all those needs in our community and understand the realities right now. So just to give you an overview. So in 2025-26, our current budget, we had asked for an increase. Obviously, it was a tough time, and that was not really a possibility last year. And what we did benefit from was that the county granted us some ARPA funds to be able to, for us to be able to expand our services in modest ways. And so we got some one-time money that we were able to invest in our Durham PreK services, which meant that we did not have to cut any of our locally funded seats last year. For this year, we did not, the current school year, we did not cut seats. And because of the braided funding model, we actually were able to carve out a modest number of additional seats. But, you'll remember that with our braided funding model, we never say, oh, we're going to have 10 seats. We always do a range because we are always following our rule of Durham County money spent last. And we braid and use resources to try to create as many seats as possible. So last year, based on the budget they gave us for 25-26, we were able to, as I said, not cut seats. We did, as I already reminded you earlier in the meeting, we implemented a base salary support payment and we increased the teacher support payments so that sites were able to get that extra support to meet our salary requirements, salary and benefits for their compensation packages. We were able to preserve our RAP Care scholarships for before and after school scholarships for families who financially qualified. We were able to preserve a bonus for instructional staff, although it is a very modest budget bonus this year, and it's based on their professional development incentives, which were some of the slides earlier that we didn't present on that you can review for information purposes. We did not, the key item here is last year, this group, governance, passed a fee per child reimbursement increase. We did not implement that that reimbursement per child rate. So our contracted sites received additional resources to support the salaries of their staff, but we did not provide an increase in the reimbursement rate. Next slide. So what has to happen now? Where are we? The thing to understand is we're in this tough place where we have a lot of gaps. So we know that Durham Public Schools opened Murray Massenburg a couple of years ago, and the county allocated grant funds that were time limited to cover 3 classrooms of children at Murray Massenburg. So we have 3 preschool classrooms at Murray Massenburg. Those funds go directly to the school system, but they are part of what covers seats at Durham Public Schools. We also, so that one-time funding creates a gap. So when we made our budget presentation, we said, we know we shouldn't ask for an increase. We understand it, but we're here to talk about what we see our needs as. So in order to maintain what we are doing right now without any cuts, we need 1.9 million additional dollars. So that's just to maintain. We did say that if it was possible, we would like to expand our current seats between 34 and 50 new seats. Again, we use a range because we want to take advantage of braided funding and maximize our seats as much as possible. But we did ask for consideration if it was possible for an additional 650 to fund 34 to 50 new seats. So our budget request, our initial request, was an additional $2.57 million to go into the Durham PreK budget. But to be clear, I want to just kind of talk about that 1.9 million that we need to stay even. So we really feel we have to implement the rate increase you passed last year. So last year, in 25, you passed a new rate to take us to $1,514 per site per month per child. So that was an inflation increase that we did not implement. So the increased cost to pay our current seats for that would be a little over $260,000. We also, in the budget to maintain, we know that we will have increased RAP care rate increases. Those RAP care scholarships are paid for based on the state child care subsidy reimbursement rates, and those are scheduled to go up. They have not yet, but they are scheduled. So we are budgeting, and we would need, based on our current service level, we would need an additional $31,500. And then also part of that stay even budget is we know that right now there is a proposed, although no state budget obviously, but a proposed 5% increase for teachers. Now, you would look at that number and say, you only need $30,000 to increase teachers' wages by 5%. No, the $30,000 is what we estimate we would need to pay on top of our teacher support payment. So when the pay rate for teachers goes up, the amount of our teacher support payment has to go up too. So we estimate if they get a 5% increase, approximately, that we would need an additional $30,000. Then the gap in the one-time money that early years received from ARPA represents $770,000 gap. And then in addition, the money that went to Durham Public Schools for Murray Massenburg, whether that comes into our budget or whether it goes into the school system budget, that represents a gap of $825,315. We did include it in our budget ask because we believe that those seats should run through the Durham PreK program, which comes under the purview of governance. because of the flexibility needed when the needs of the county change and we want to move seats around and that type of thing. So that's where we are in terms of the overall ask. It was a preliminary discussion. It was a budget retreat. Obviously, we've received a lot of feedback that it's likely not going to happen, but we wanted to let you know what we presented. Next slide. So just to give you some perspective, this overview, this is really just for you to see where we are, because we always want to be mindful of how we spend our money and way things are going. This overview displays Durham County's investment in Durham PreK, excluding the funds that go directly to Durham Public Schools budget. Remember, the money for Whitted goes directly into their budget. Currently, the money for Murray-Massburg goes directly into their budget. And then there are other preschool funds that go directly into the public schools budget that we're not able to delineate exactly where or what school they go to. They're supporting the overall preschool program for the district. This is only money that comes through the contract with the county that we administer the resources. So the takeaway for me from this is we've had modest seat growth in the last couple of years, which we're grateful for. We know it's a long-term goal in our community to expand. We believe that the declining enrollment at Durham Public Schools in the last 20 years is something that is a community issue. And then we believe that the early education seats, the public preschool seats, are one advantage as a pipeline into our public schools, because we believe families can really be sure their children are ready for kindergarten, and that it strengthens that pathway to kindergarten, and we believe strengthens the pathway to our public schools. But at this time, the seat growth has been modest, although in these tough last few years, we're glad that it moved at all and did not sustain cuts. The other takeaway here is the program services expenses. Those are the expenses that cover all of our family support services, the online portal, the registration, the placement, part of the placement that we braid with our partners, the technical assistance, professional development, all of the support services. These are the orange program services line does not represent the dollars that go directly to the sites. The purple line, those funds go directly to the sites. They are pass-through dollars. Next slide. So this is just another way of looking at, next slide, yeah. This is another way of looking at our growth. Just displays the seat growth so that you can see where we are. Obviously, 2018-19 was our pilot year, and that for obvious reasons, it was a pilot. But you can also see the dip as we entered into COVID. But then, we have continued a modest growth annually. Okay, next slide. All right, so just in summary, we did request a $2.57 million increase in Durham PreK funds. We emphasized that our hope was to maintain what we have, which would represent still an increase because of those one-time funds, which would be the a little over 1.9 million. That's inclusive of Murray-Massburg. And then we did request some funds for expansion. So that's just in summary what we talked to them about. Any questions?
Thanks for all of that, Linda. It's a lot to digest. I just want to bring this up to the committee as a whole. We really need to make our presence known to the commissioners. If we can arrange a visit to a meeting where we all show up to really advocate for Durham PreK, that would be great. Like, I'm thinking, can we get something for Week of the Young Child on their agenda so they do a proclamation and we're all there in the audience? Just to raise up the visibility of the importance of Durham PreK. That'd be great. Ellen, I see your hand.
So the estimated additional funding needed to maintain current seats at 1.9 million, that doesn't include the salary increase we just voted in favor of earlier.
No, it does not.
And do you have an estimate of what that might cost?
I don't off the top of my head, but we can definitely, send you out some estimates, or because it will only be a portion of that increase. It will not be as large as we imagine. The 5% that we budgeted, if you consider that to support our teachers, the 5% increase, our portion of that being 30,000, it would have some similarities to that.
Yeah.
But this increase does include moving us to the increased per child rate that you passed last year that we haven't implemented.
Okay. All I would say is this is a tough transition year. Anytime you use a large slug of one-time money, you then have to pace yourself and make it up with the normal funding situation. And so as a result, this is, one of those crunch years where I don't know, and then with the vacancies that we do have, how much do you then push for new seats when we could still be filling our vacancies? So it's just a tough year.
It is a tough year. And I do want to clarify one thing. When you look at vacancies, the budget, okay, in our budget, we budget for a 10% vacancy rate because families with young children, there's a lot of dynamic things that happen. There's churn, there's turnover, there are vacancies. And so in the money that we allocate, we do budget, we plan for a 10% vacancy rate. If we were 100% full, we would be scrambling to pay for things. Now, it is our goal to be 100% full, don't get me wrong, but we do budget for a 10% vacancy rate. We are overall across all programs, we're a little more than 10% vacant, but many of those vacant seats, as we talked about, we're working with the public schools around Whitted. So.
Thanks, everybody. We are dangerously close to the end of the meeting, and I know we have a few more slides ahead of us. So we will continue having these conversations. So yeah, thanks, everybody. Okay, next slide.
I'm going to turn it over to Tamara Mathis, our director for Durham PreK, and she'll just run through a couple of updates. You're going to get first of next week, you'll get a written update that has many, many updates about what's going on in the program, since we knew we wouldn't have time to really talk about it in the meeting. Tamara?
Yes, just want to make sure everyone can hear me before I start. All right.
Yep.
So here is our new flyer that our communication and public engagement team has created for our opening for the school year. It did open on March 2nd, so we are now accepting applications for the upcoming school year and still actually accepting applications for the current school year. So pretty much 652 applications have been received for next school year as of March 13th. About 19 applications have been received for the current school year. Both of those are as of March 13th. And as I said, we continue to enroll kids up until probably the end of April. Here is a wonderful opportunity that we had at one of our sites, Kids Are Kids, RTP. They had a visit from the Early Childhood Policy Academy through Duke University. And there were about 22 legislators, 5 from North Carolina, the rest from other states, who spent a couple of hours enjoying themselves at Kids Are Kids. They had a great time. The students shared, as you can see on the bottom, some science activities that they've learned. One was about absorption, and the other one was their farm to ECE opportunities they have on them in the middle slide there. It was a great day. The site chose ambassadors. They actually used a kids voting process to select the ambassadors. And thanks to Durham Tech, they made little ambassador pins for them. And we were just had a great day with the kids showing off what they learned. And the site did a great job with preparing the children as well. Maggie's here. I'll let her kind of share about the pre-apprenticeship program.
Hello everyone, my name is Maggie and I'm the Workforce Support Program Manager for Durham PreK. So we just had some good news that we have now officially added a pre-apprenticeship track to our now 3-tiered apprenticeship program that's been officially registered with Apprenticeship NC. And this aligns directly with the Early Childhood Academy that we've collaborated with Durham Tech on first last summer, and now the 3 sessions that they're running this spring. This allows participants to earn an additional credential while they're completing the academy program through Apprenticeship NC, and then also makes them eligible for some additional resources through NC Works and workforce development dollars, since they would be officially registered in this pre-apprenticeship program, and then provides them with direct entry into apprenticeship programs as they graduate from the academy and are hired by participating employers. And just a few kind of number updates. I'll let y'all read through it. I know we're at time, but also want to just make you aware of a couple of events coming up. At the bottom there, you'll see we have a job fair coming up on Saturday, May 2nd. That is the culminating event with Durham Tech for this group of Academy students, as well as a graduation luncheon on Sunday, May 3rd. Here at Early Years, preceding commencement at Durham Tech, where we'll be celebrating 5 apprentices who are graduating with their associate degree this term.
Okay, so we're here. I know we're at the end, and we once again had a super tight agenda, and I apologize for that. As we talked about earlier, we'll send you out some emails regarding the subcommittee and a special call to April meeting. The next regular meeting is May 21st.
Great. Thanks, everybody. We will just need a motion to adjourn.
So move the Yamaruka.
Okay, I think 3 people just made that a motion. So as long as we got one of you. Wonderful. Do we have a second? Whoever.
Second.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you all. If you're in favor of that motion, you can just leave. And thank you for a robust meeting. We will see you we'll see you again at our closed session in April. Have a lovely month, everybody. Thank you.